Yeah, wake the hell up. Charts ain't waiting and neither am I. It's BC Pork Corp, and this is Good Morning Crypto. Let's run it. Good morning to the streets, to the charts, to the grind. I ain't sipping no latte, I'm sipping on time. Woke up with the market in a headlock grip. See the wick break out, that's my exit flip. Digital hustle, I don't sleep much. Cold wallet thick like it just did crunch. Fiat crashing, I just laugh in the mirror. Good morning truth, now the picture get clearer. Yeah, I'm up before sunrise, no snooze on my plays. Whale still dreaming, I'm setting my trays. I ain't here for likes, I ain't here for clout. I'm here for that check when the trend breaks out. I spit blocks, hash rates, having dates. Got alpha in my veins, no time for fakes. SEC lurking, but I move like a ghost. Mixing TA and game, call me the host. This my show, this my tone, this my throne. Good morning crypto, I stand alone. Good morning to the streets, to the charts, to the grind. I ain't sipping no latte, I'm sipping on time. Woke up with the market in a headlock grip. See the wick break out, that's my exit flip. Digital hustle, I don't sleep much. Cold wallet thick like it just did crunch. Fiat crashing, I just laugh in the mirror. Good morning truth, now the picture get clearer. Perpetual swinging, I'm a beast with the size. TA tight like the laces I tie. MACD crossing, I'm pressing that go. And my fib line stretching like it's crypto dope. Ain't no banker ever taught me this wealth. I learned from red days, had to fight for myself. Now I'm dropping fire before the coffee drip. Crypto cooking on its breakfast shift. Every candle's a warning, every flash a test. But I lace up my plays and I trade like the best. We're moons made for legends, not snoozers and sheep. This for the wolves who watch charts while they eat. This for the ones who said crypto's a scam. Now I'm paying my bills with a cold wallet jam. Salute to the grinder, salute to the bold. Good morning to those who ain't buying what they sold. Good morning to the streets, to the charts, to the grind. I ain't sipping no latte, I'm sipping on time. Woke up with the market in a headlock grip. See the wick break out, that's my exit flip. Digital hustle, I don't sleep much. Cold wallet thick like it just did crunch. Fiat crashing, I just laugh in the mirror. Good morning truth, now the picture get clearer. Wake up, read the charts, read the game, then run it. Good morning crypto, Pork Corp out. Wake up, read the charts, read the game, then run it. Good morning crypto, Pork Corp out.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got one headline that I really want to touch on. I'm going to go a little in depth on it. You know, normally we kind of breeze through some news articles and then get to some TA. Well, I think this deserves a little more focus, so I went a little more in depth on some of my note taking, and we were really going to dive into this Michael Saylor topic because, you know, he did something quite crazy. He promised that he would never dilute his stocks, meaning issuing new shares when money is a little bit low. And he very, very quickly retracted that statement. So, gonna dive into that. talk about some of the risk that is incurred by that, and maybe dive a little bit into what might happen in 2027 if we hit some certain levels on Bitcoin and you see some people wanting to get paid out instead of taking the stock option. So before we get into all that, let's dive into this stock heat map, because we got to get prepped for some success today. We've got Apple sitting to the downside off of its close yesterday, seeing a little bit of some much needed green this morning, up 0.35%. We've got Nvidia sitting to the downside off of its close, down 0.24, sitting to the downside at 1.39% right now. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting quite neutral off of its close, down 0.02, looking to the upside this morning, 0.54. We've got Amazon sitting to the downside, 0.83, looking a little bit green as well this morning, up 0.23. We've got Eli Lilly sitting to the upside, 0.62, looking to the upside 0.1% this morning. We've got ExxonMobil looking quite green from yesterday, 0.64% to the upside, continuing to see that green this morning, up 0.07. We've got Tesla sitting to the downside from yesterday, 1.17, looking a little bit green this morning as well, up 0.24. We've got P&G down 0.49, looking to the upside this morning, 0.15. We've got Microsoft sitting down 0.29 and seeing that buying pressure this morning as well, up 0.34. Google sitting to the upside off of its close, 0.21%. Getting some nice moves towards the upside this morning though, up 1.15%. Meta, on the other hand, sitting down 1.15% off of its close, seeing some light buying pressure this morning, up 0.21%. We've got the crypto bubbles looking quite mixed. We've got a few that are sitting pretty big red, Link down 5.5%, but we've got some light green in here as well. Bitcoin sitting down 0.4%. We've got Ethereum up 0.09%. We know Jesse loves Ethereum around here, so he's probably pretty happy that's sitting a little bit green on that daily. We've got XRP down 1.4%. BNB sitting down 0.6% after it made that all-time high. We've got Solana down 1.2%. Tron sitting up 1%. Dogecoin sitting down 0.7%. Cardano down 2.7%. We've got Chainlink sitting down 5.5%. Hyperliquid up 1.4%. Stellar Lumen sitting down 0.9%. We've got SWI sitting down 0.8%. Bitcoin Cash sitting up 0.7%. HBAR sitting up 0.02%. We've got Avalanche down 0.5%. Litecoin taking that spot in the market cap from Leo token, sitting up 0.6%, while Leo token sees a little bit of some sell-off, down 1.1%. Yeah, I couldn't resist it this morning, Jesse. I just had to throw that one your way. We all know how much of an Ethereum fanboy you are, so anytime Ethereum is in the green, we know you're happy. We've got that stock market fear and greed sitting at 53, looking extremely neutral. Not too unexpected. I do think we see a little bit of a shift going into next week, especially with the Jackson Hole Summit today going on. At that morning market report, going to be 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. We've got that crypto market sitting exactly at 50 and neutral. Not too unexpected. We've been at least moving a little bit sideways. We did sweep a little bit of liquidity yesterday. We've still got some more liquidity sitting to the bottom side though. Taking a look at this liquidation heat map, we've got a little bit of liquidity directly underneath us, 111,400. That hotspot to the top side coming in at 114,300 for the top, ranging all the way down to $114,000. We'll take a look at that on that Bitcoin chart. We got some of those moves I was talking about yesterday. Not a lot of bouncing, rejections. Went a little bit higher than I thought we would, but definitely that up-down action. failed to hold one of those levels I was really talking about. We'll kind of have to see if we can get back above it today. We do have some liquidity on this 3-day up at $115,000. So if you see Jerome Powell talking a little bit dovish and we get some nice moves to the upside, at $115,000 is a nice area to get back up to. Taking that look at the 1 week, we've still got quite a bit of liquidity to the upside. Above that $115,000 is going to be that first real area to do some battle with. If we can get above that and get back up to that $118,000 mark, all the way up to about $119,000, we've got some nice liquidity up there. We're going to have to get through some of those key levels, though, that we're going to talk about in just a second. We do have that economic calendar with some heavy data drops today. Nothing quite like a Jerome Powell speech to start your morning with, but that's what we're going to be getting. A Jerome Powell speech at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Definitely be keeping your eyes on that. That's going to be the big market mover. I think that's why we've gotten very limited movements this week. A lot of waiting to see what Jerome Powell is going to say. Does he come out hawkish? Does he come out dovish? We did have a little bit of a descent on those FOMC minutes. So if we do see a little bit of some data coming out positive between here and September 17th. So we got about 2 weeks to really change Jerome Powell's mind, maybe get some more agreements on a rate cut. Jerome Powell will give us the information to look for. So definitely watch for that speech at 10 a.m. And that's about all. We got at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, that Jackson Hole Symposium, but the big one's going to be that Jerome Powell speech at 10 a.m. Let's hop on over to that Bitcoin chart, see what we got going on in the chats this morning. Let's see. We got Jesse Gluck first in here, as always, saying good morning to everyone. I appreciate you being on in here, Jesse. Dropping those smash the like buttons, telling everyone to follow join that Discord. Link is up at the top in the chat. Go ahead, check it on out. We do a lot over there, and we're always happy to have some discussions or a little bit of fun. Yesterday was just all having fun in the Discord. So, you see this boring sideways price action. That means we're probably going to be having some fun in the Discord. We got Curtis Hill in here. Good morning to you. We've got Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning. If you've got those Billy Goat tail emojis, go ahead, drop them in the chat for me. Let's see who else we got in here. We got K Diggity in the house. Good morning, crypto family, he says. Well, good morning to you, K Diggity. Hope you got that coffee and you're ready to make some money, because we might see a little bit of volatility, and volatility is what lets us make all of this money here. Crypto Billy saying when moonshot. When moonshot is when we clear bottom side liquidity. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. We do have an area of interest that I'd kind of like to see us take out before we get to the top side. We can dive into that one in just a second. Let's see what else we got in here. Everyone liking that Ethereum dig at Jesse. Well, let's see. Alex Moto. I haven't seen you here in the chat before. I appreciate you tuning on in this morning. Good morning to you. Let's see what else we got here. Everyone saying hit the like button. Yeah, it looks like we've got quite a bit of lurkers in the background. 17 watching over on here. We got 2 watching over on X. Appreciate y'all tuning on in on X as well. Let's dive into this Bitcoin chart, because we're right below one of those levels I was really talking about the other day. We did talk about that bottom side of our CME gap, or our fair value gap, and that's pretty much exactly where we got up to yesterday. We're seeing that continued sideways momentum here on our MACD. That prime oscillator still moving to the downside as that money flow continues to stay a little red here on the daily. We do have extremely low, we are starting to get extremely low volume here on the daily, so we are just waiting for that key level that people have limit orders at to really boost price back towards the upside. We'll kind of have to take a look at that on the shorter term time frame. Let's get over to that 4-hour there. As you can see, as we got up to that fair value gap here, we saw a lot of selling pressure coming on in. We were able to hold that key level I had talked about yesterday, being at 112,700. That was pulled over here from some very equal candle bodies on a shorter term time frame. We're moving a little bit sideways on top of that right now. We'll kind of have to wait to see if we can hold this range, maybe get another little sweep of some of that liquidity to the bottom side. That's going to be that 111,800 area. That's also retest our old all-time high there, and then really gets us back with some support. If we do not hold that $111,000, I am really looking below down to this fair value gap that we made on the run up here. You can kind of see we held that top side as some support over here. Let me get that zoomed in a little bit better. We got that top side held as some very strong support here. That's coming in at 110,800 here. That's that area we kind of teased about the other day, but we got very quick movements through it, held the top side, and then really blasted through all of this area to make some new all-time highs. When we came back down, we started retesting a lot of these areas. You can see here, we retested all of that quick movement here, really got that move back up with some strength. And then here, we're currently testing a lot of that quick movement levels again. So to make those moves back down through that area, let me undo that. Control Z. Oops. I did not know that wasn't locked there. Whoa. We got this area right here that we moved through with some quickness as well. That was also a weekend movement. So to see us really come back and test that, give the traditional markets a stab at that area would be something to watch for. You've got your MACD moving extremely sideways here on the 4-hour. So we'll kind of have to see if that comes with a little more downside, as that money flow still is red here. We got Brian. You're really easy to understand and listen to. Well, I appreciate that, Brian. I really do my best. We try to keep it nice and calm here in the morning. I don't want to go too crazy in the morning, but we do want to wake you up with that nice calm TA here. So let's dive on into that 1 hour. That 1 hour is that area where we are starting to see that potential for a little bit of a break towards the upside. Would have to come with that very quick short-term time frame money flow though. We are sitting a little bit red here on that money flow here on the 1 hour, but we're moving quite sideways below our fair value gap. We are seeing a little bit of sideways momentum here on the MACD as well. Not something to be overly concerned about, because that real short-term time frame money flow could bleed on over at that 10 o'clock time frame and really give us that boost back towards the upside. We're barely sitting in some red money flow here on the 1 hour as that prime oscillator moves a little bit sideways. Not too unexpected, as we see this sideways kind of flagging out action below our fair value gap here. We do still have a big a big fair value gap directly above our fair value gap as well. As you can see on this 1 hour, it is multiple candles that is pulled from that 4 hour there. So that's that next real area of interest I'm looking for to the top side. We need to get back into this fair value gap that's directly above us at 113,600, and then make our way back above that top side golden pocket, coming in at 114,200. Those are those two areas directly above us that might come in as some resistance. Let's take a look at that 15-minute, see what the morning might be bringing our way here. looking a little bit cooled off on these MACDs as we see this sideways action. This is really where you can see that flagging out. We're making slightly lower highs, slightly lower lows here as we constrict just a little bit. You can see that prime oscillator extremely cooled off. Money flow barely in the green here. This is what we were talking about. We want to see that bleed over from the short-term time frame, nice consistent green candles that really build up into a big body green candle on that hourly. We're sitting with some nice curvature here on that MACD as we maintain above the zero line. So we do have a little bit of some potential for some upside movements. A lot of that's going to depend on what Jerome Powell says today. Let's see what we got. Huge shot through the sky, says Curtis Hill. I think we are going to be getting into disbelief zone on the psychology of an investor. Well, we might get there. We still do need to clear out some of those areas to the bottom side. That's why I talk about that fair value gap down there. You know, nobody really wants to see us get to that point, but that $110,000 level has been brought up several times around the space. That is that giant fair value gap. We've got that bottom side of our Fibonacci golden pocket fib extensions coming in at 110,300. If we're going to come to that area, we might as well clear out the fair value gap, and that'll really give us some nice cooled off oscillators here on that daily time frame. As you can see, that daily still has a little more cooling off to do. We do have some bearish divergences on that MACD as well, so I would kind of like to see those play out, give us a little more downside, and then really be cooled off to allow for some pump towards the upside. I know we've talked about some of that weekly chart as well. We've got those very, very big bearish divergences here on the weekly. MACD's got the divergence. Prime oscillator has the divergence. We do have that nice little double topping on the prime oscillator as well. Waiting to see if we can get some of that bleed over, see some nice big candles here on the weekly. I do think we need to clear out some of that down there. I would at least like to see us hold that 108,300. That's that area of real support coming on in. That was some old resistance. We got some nice moves to the upside off of it as well. That's what started this kind of whole move back to make some all-time highs. Let's see what else we got here. In my SEC I just dropped. Let me know what you guys think. Feedback is important. Appreciate. Thanks in advance to whoever peeps it. Not sure what that was, JR, but did you drop a trade setup in the Discord? If so, I'll definitely take a look at it here in a second. If you'll have any alt requests, go ahead and throw those in the chat for me. We'll take a look at those here in a brief second. We did want to get to this news article. You know, this is quite the crazy title that I put here on the YouTube. I did want it to be a little bit clickbaity, but Michael Saylor doing Michael Saylor things. You know, he continues to buy Bitcoin. He continues to raise his entry, and with that, he accrues a lot more risk. Let me get Ondo on that list. Ondo. All right. Let's zoom this on in a little bit so you can read it along with me. We've got that. There we go. Michael Saylor drops the no dilution pledge less than 1 month after saying that he would not dilute stocks. So let's scroll on down, get to the meat and potatoes of this. Michael Saylor is moving the goalposts. The executive chair of Strategy, the company formerly known as MicroStrategy, has loosened its long-held rules on when it will dilute shareholders to buy more Bitcoin. This week, a new equity guidance slide showed that the firm will issue stock at a far lower market to net asset value multiples, or MNAV, than previously promised. Not even a month ago, Strategy pledged it wouldn't issue shares below $2.5 4x MNAV. MNAV compares a company's market capitalization to the value of its Bitcoin holdings. Above 1 means investors are paying a premium. Below 1 means the market values the stock at less than the coins it owns. Strategy aims with its change to provide greater flexibility in executing our capital market strategy, Saylor said on X on Monday. We will kind of have to dive into what that means here in a second, but I wanted to touch a little more on that change. Under the old rules, Strategy would have been locked out of issuing new stock to fund new Bitcoin buys. Under the new ones, however, management has much more freedom to tap equity markets at thinner premiums. For instance, the firm will actively issue shares if its MNAV tops at 4x. To do so would optimistically between 2.5 and 4x would and may still issue below the threshold to cover debt and dividends or whenever otherwise deemed advantageous. Strategy could issue credit to repurchase shares if the stock slips below 1x under the new rules. Let's kind of dive into this section because, this is kind of what I've talked about for a while here. The spiral of doom. If Strategy is forced to sell shares at thinner and thinner premiums just to service debt, it risks triggering what former Goldman Sachs analyst Don Kwok called a spiral of doom. This means dilution eats into shareholders' value, shares sink lower, interest payments mount, and the firm would even be forced to sell its vaunted Bitcoin stash to stay afloat. The stakes are higher because the MNAV is the core pitch for the entire crypto treasury secretary. In practice, however, many firms are struggling. Of the 167 listed crypto treasury companies, 13%, or about 21 firms, already trade below MNAV of 1 according to Bitcoin treasuries. I've talked about how this might be a topping signal. A lot of these companies are coming in at some very, very peak levels on these assets. Michael Saylor continues to raise his entry. That is something to worry about. That is why you see him change this MNAV rule, which means that as the Bitcoin holdings are a little bit lower than what people are valuing their stock at, you end up having your stock be a little bit undervalued. And then you come in and you issue new stocks on that, meaning that you are diluting the original buyer's shares. You are now having less of a share of the company, which was already valued extremely low. If you are unable to sell those shares, you're unable to raise that capital to really pay off your debts. Michael Saylor has his first round of debts that he has to pay coming in 2027. As we all should be aware, if you follow the Bitcoin cycles, 2027 would be very, very close to that bear market bottom, with your average entry price of Bitcoin being $76,000 for Michael Saylor. If you are below that threshold, that means your MNAV is extremely, extremely low. You're accruing a whole lot more risk at that price point, and you might not have people wanting to buy your stock at that price point. You would also have to find some kind of way to pay these people back. If your stock is already extremely diluted at that price point, people might not want to take the stock option on the bonds that they had bought, which is that first round of bonds that is maturing in 2027. You have either the ability to get your interest paid back and your lump sum in an equating amount of the stock, or you're able to be paid back in cash. Those are the two ways that Michael Saylor chose to do those bonds. And if you have people choosing that cash option instead of that stock option, because the stock is extremely extremely overvalued, because it has been extremely diluted. Then you accrue a lot more risk, and you kind of see that death spiral kind of start. You would have to sell Bitcoin, which would cause a massive cascading downside effect on the Bitcoin price. You'd also see that be a little bit negative on Bitcoin. No one's going to blame Michael Saylor for his whole company failing, but they would blame Bitcoin because, he was buying Bitcoin. His whole thing was, we are the Bitcoin company and we will be buying Bitcoin no matter what. We won't be selling Bitcoin. But he has very, very, very quickly had to change a lot of what he said, changing the NAV rule, changing that he might sell Bitcoin, because originally he was never going to sell Bitcoin, but we very, very quickly watched him backtrack on that. It's water and BTC right now. That's it, says Crypto Billy. Oh, let's see. Simple. If you hold MSTR share, just always have a put option to hedge. Not financial advice, as Darren does things. That's actually not a bad idea. The death spiral for MSTR is what I think will happen in the next 2 years. And that's really what I'm touching on, is that 2027, those first bonds mature. After that, you have some bonds maturing in 2028 as well. So kind of as we're starting to pick up a little more steam, you would have to make it through this bear market for me to have any faith in Michael Saylor and the strategy company. What if he's unable to buy more Bitcoin at those lows because those bonds mature? Really, really thin margins on his capital. He doesn't have a lot of excess money, so it is a little bit of an issue that he's going to have to get through. If you don't see those interest rates at an advantageous point, he won't be able to get another loan either, which he's done before. That's kind of what started the whole Michael Saylor and strategy game. He got a loan, he paid it off extremely quickly, but in those bear market lows, if we're not seeing advantageous loan rates, nobody's going to lend money to Michael Saylor to buy Bitcoin. And then he's going to have to issue stocks or get people to buy bonds, preferred stock, things like that. If he's unable to get money loaned to him and your stock is very diluted, no one's going to want to buy more shares of your company. So this is that thing that I'm watching for on Michael Saylor and the strategy company. There is a lot of risk in the path that he has chosen to do. We all know the DCA game is about lowering your entry. Michael Saylor has just been raising his entry. So not doing it the smart way. That's just my 2 thoughts on that. But we'll kind of have to see if he makes it through that bear market. If he makes it through the bear market, you bet I'm going to buy some strategy. That's not financial advice, but I would like to see you prove yourself through a whole cycle, both bull market and bear market, before have any faith in your strategy. All right, let's get over to some of those TA requests. We had Ondo requested, and I know we had one more. Pendle, there it is. All right, we will get to Pendle. All right, any other alt requests? Go ahead and drop them in the chat for me. Let's see. Dutchy, apologies. Hi, Saylor rage baits me. Haha. Yeah, he kind of makes me a little frustrated too. Because if his company fails, no one's going to blame Saylor. They're just going to blame Bitcoin. See, I told you Bitcoin's trash. Why'd you invest in Bitcoin and build your whole company on that? And they're not going to blame Michael Saylor for raising his entry price points. We got VVV requested as well. We can get to that one too. BC is bringing so much alpha. You've got to like it. I appreciate that, Jesse. I do my best. We got a few lurkers in the background, so hopefully they enjoyed that. It looks like they all stayed through all of that, so appreciate all of you in the background. And we did get one more person on X as well, so hopefully y'all enjoying a little bit of nerdiness on the Michael Saylor front. Let's get over to those charts though. We've got a OKB chart pulled up in the background. Hey, look at that, Jesse. You know how I talked about that 1618 yesterday? Boom, 1618. And I said it could continue. It got a little sideways momentum, got some nice green money flow, and then bam, 1618. But let's get over to Ondo. We had Ondo requested. Let's take a look at some Ondo here. Been a little while since I've taken a look at Ondo. Sitting down at that platinum pocket there. Let's see what we got going on here on the higher term time frame now. Let's see, making some lower highs here. We're at a point where we could make a higher low, really switch that macro kind of trend. We are in some sideways ranging action here. We are directly above that platinum pocket. Really wait and see if we can get some strong money flow coming back in. If we are unable to hold that platinum pocket here, I would look back down to that 83-cent price point. We have seen that come in as some resistance. We've seen that come in as some nice strong bouncing off points. It is also resistance back here. It is looking a little bit like a point of control, so we do have those nice bounces to the top side. When we pull back up, we get that nice launch off of it towards the platinum pocket. So that's that next area of interest to the downside that I would really pay attention to. We do have some resistance directly above us. We will get that pulled on up on that shorter term time frame now. Let me delete that one. It is no longer of some interest. All right, let's get this zoomed on in. Take a look at the 4 hour here. 4 hour also ranging a little bit sideways. Quite like that Bitcoin chart, we are maintaining that platinum pocket quite nicely this morning. As you can see, we're getting that nice sideways movement on top of it. We're really waiting for some money flow in either direction. Let's see where we might come to on the short term time frame here. We've got that horizontal ray we need to pull on up. This was our support here. Nice equal candle bodies, wick in action, and the rejections off of it as well. So looking like 96, 98 is that area directly above us where we could potentially see some resistance if we get that nice move towards the upside there. Let's take a look here at that 1 hour, see what we're looking like. Looking a little bit toppy here. Nothing too concerning unless you really see that come with some red money flow. So we are just moving sideways here along that platinum pocket. As you can see, moving extremely sideways there, trying to cool off, I would assume, that shorter term time frame oscillator. 15-minute, nice and cooled off here. So we are seeing that sideways momentum really cool off that 15-minute. Would like to see that come with some strong money flow though. So volume holding quite steady here. That is nice to see. So all we would need is a quick change in some money flow to really get that price moving in either direction here. We do have a nice area quite below, right below us, coming in at 90 cents, pretty much on the dot. That'd be that area to see us hold. If we do not hold that and we break below it, I would look for a little more downside, and that's where that 83-cent price point really comes into play there. Jesse saying we need 5 more likes. Hit that like button, people. We appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. So let's see what happens with that like. We'll see if we get those. We'll see if we get a divergence on that like button again. Let's see. K Diggity. I thought that was Ethereum. Come on, Ondo. It's my favorite poop coin, says K Diggity. I mean, Ondo's got some good utility. It was really backed by some big names. But, you know, apparently this is the cycle that no one cares about utility on. So everyone just wants to make that money. I get it, but if you don't have utility, how do you last? But a lot of people just playing that very quick rotation game. So let's see what we got for Pendle. Another project with some decent utility. We'll see what we're looking at here. Pendle holding up quite nicely on that 382 after a very strong move towards the upside there. Dang, I'll be missing out on some of these alt movements because you know I've got the ones I focus on, but I am not in the alts. I've been playing the stock game and I've been playing the Bitcoin game. So I've been buying Bitcoin, doing that Piper DCA plan, and it's been doing quite well. So if you're not in that Discord, you're missing out on that Piper Academy DCA plan, and it's done me quite well. There is one thing we know in crypto: you can always get your coin at the price you want if you're just patient. Most definitely, Crypto Billy. You might have to wait a few years, but you can get it back at that price. Let's see what we got here. Daily looking a little bit better than Bitcoin was. You can see this at MACD getting that curvature. Oop, I combined those. I hate when it does that. There we go. We got that MACD moving a little bit sideways here, very over that zero line, and getting that curvature back towards the upside here. Prime oscillator also getting that curvature back towards the upside. As we're flagging out here on the higher term time frame, you can see those slightly lower lows and lower highs here, holding that 382 extremely well. That 382 coming in at $5.13. We did get a little sweep of liquidity below that. Not too concerning, but holding quite nicely there. If you do break below that 382 though, you do have this massive fair value gap that is of interest to me, coming in at $4.90 for that top side and ranging all the way down to $4.07 for the bottom side. You also have that 50% line on our fib retracements coming in at the bottom, at that midline. So $4.51. Hold that 50% line on the fair value gap and your fib extensions, looking quite bullish. If we do dip below that, I would look back to that golden pocket again. But looking a little bit bullish here on the daily if you can get that money flow to continue to come in there. Let's see that hourly. Looking a little bit toppy here, but you do have some areas of support directly below us. Let's get that horizontal drawn out, coming in at $5.34. That's what we got. That was bottom side bouncing action to come in, retest the tops. Gonna be $5.48. So those are those two levels to kind of keep your eye on. For the bottom side, we are moving a little bit sideways on top of that 548 point. You can kind of see we haven't come and retested it though. So that's an area of interest here. I would look a little bit lower, really retest that 533 if that toppiness here on the 1 hour really comes to play. Let's take a look at that 15-minute, see what we're looking at there. 15-minute also looking quite toppy. Got that bearish divergence as well. If we don't hold 548, looking back to 534 would really be of some interest to me. Below that comes that 382 and $5.13. Going to depend a lot on what Jerome Powell says this morning. We had one other request. Let's get VVV pulled on up. I'm pretty sure we look at it on that. Nope, we don't look at it on the Coinbase chart. VVV. Let's find it. Maybe Binance there. Yeah, Binance. There we go. Not dropping below the 50% line on our fib retracement there. Might be looking back down towards that golden pocket. If we're unable to maintain our current price points, we'd get a nice little bit of a sweep of liquidity coming in for a horizontal level right there. would be a nice little area to watch for. That's where we got all of that sideways price action on top of that golden pocket. That's pretty much directly where we're on top of right now. Would like to see us hold there. If not, looking back down towards that golden pocket would be an area of interest. We do have those very equal candle bodies coming in at $3.28. So something to kind of keep your eye on in the short-term time frame. Let's get that locked. 4 hour looking a little bit bottomy here, but potential sweep just below that before we get that move back towards the upside. Let's take a look at that 1 hour. 1 hour ranging a little bit sideways. Money flow in the red as we're getting that MACD with some curvature back towards the upside. Not really getting any width from that indicator line, so don't have a whole lot of strength in an upside move. Prime oscillator also getting a little bit of a curve back down, but we do have a bullish divergence that is yet to play out. Volume extremely low, money flow in the red. So would really need to get to that point where money flow really comes back in. Probably looking back down to that $3.27 or that golden pocket. 15-minute looking a little bit toppy here as well. Might see that continued rollover back down to 327 before we see that strong money flow coming back in to push us back up to that 50% line, coming in at $3.55. All right, it is 5:28. Time to wind that show on down and send y'all over to the morning motivational video. Let me actually get that redirect all set up, because I set this stream up yesterday and Billy did not have his video set up to go live. There we go. Got that redirect all set up for you. I appreciate every single one of you tuning on in. Let's see what we got with the chat before we send it on out. Let's see. I can think of something else annoying, but yeah, also keeps going and doesn't stop. I'm not sure what that project was. We got Al Jr. in the chat. Good morning to you. Missed you there as we were doing some TA. Let's see. What does total 3 alts minus BTC and ETH look like versus last run? I got a small project today. What should show that should show dilution? Yeah, there's quite a bit of dilution. I try to talk about that total 3 in comparison to Bitcoin and Ethereum last time to someone on another show, and it kind of just like whooshed over their head. They were like, oh, look, we're at really decent levels. But I'm like, but compare that to like a Bitcoin market cap last cycle, and it doesn't look as good, especially considering that you've got way more alts than you've ever had before. So that just means a lot of people don't know where to put their money, and they're just putting it in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So dilution is real. Our alt season was December. Yeah, I said alt season was canceled this cycle. So we did see some nice waves into some of those Dino coins and a few utility coins, but it's been quite different this time. We got up to like a 4.2 in total market cap. 4.2 in total market cap, but total 3's market cap was nowhere close to anything that it was when we were peaking out last time. So a lot of alts, a lot of them not getting no money. And just looking at those Dino projects and Bitcoin and Ethereum, you know, sticking with that good utility. But it is 5:30, and I will see y'all at the next show. Make sure to tune into the rest of the shows here on the Piper Academy. We got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You know what Piper's going to talk about today. He's going to talk about Jerome Powell, and you're not going to want to miss it. So tune on in, 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on the Piper Academy. We also got Trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Great place to learn if you want to learn some TA or you just want to have some fun late night before you go to bed. So until then, I will see you on Monday bright and early for another Good Morning Crypto episode. Make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.